the quick start and the... I'll do that better.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the D20 Future Show. I am, as always, your host and your GM, Richard. And some time ago now, I went to the UK Games Expo, the largest gaming convention in the UK and one of the largest in the world. This episode will be some of the interviews I recorded at the Expo with wonderful RPG creators of all sorts that I met there. Before we get to the pod, it's competition time. While at the UK Games Expo, I acquired some TTRPG gaming stuff and I want to give it away to one lucky listener. So, if you want a chance to win a D20 in the mouth of a big cat sticker, a nerd pin badge, a Syrenscape D&D sounds code, and some D&D adventures featuring some gorgeous Loki Battlemap books, all you have to do is get in touch with the podcast by email, that's d20futureshow@gmail.com, or any of our social media places, and tell me what you were doing over the weekend of the UK Games Expo. One winner will be announced. The other piece of admin to cover off is that due to my personal schedule and a desire to do some things that are not this in my spare time, the D20 Future Show is now going to be a monthly podcast. In theory, we have been a bi-weekly podcast for some years now, but I'm sure it is as clear to you, listener, as it is to me that I'm simply not managing that at all. The speed of podcast production is just not keeping up with that. So I'm hoping to make the episodes just a little bit longer to compensate for this. You'll see this one clocks in at well over an hour, as work and other real-life distractions allow. Right, anyway, let's get to the interviews.
I'm here with Will from Chronicle. Will from Chronicle, who are you and what do you do?
G'day mate, hey, cheers for taking the time. Obviously my name's Will, I've already covered that bit. We're an Australian-based publisher. We produce a range of hobby products, most notably known for our brushes and our painting accessories. Just now moving into RPG space as well, so we've got a couple of board games and also RPGs too. So what people might have heard of is Mosscan coming out very shortly. We've also got Necropolis, a tabletop miniature skirmish game.
Okay.
Amberlight, a hex crawl RPG as well with a related D&D 5e setting. Severance Package, which is like a cyberpunk sci-fi skirmish game as well, that have got RPG light elements to it.
Okay.
And then a whole bunch of range of peripherals as you're kind of seeing around here. You just have to, audience is going to have to use their imagination, I guess, but a bunch of dice and some other fun
Imagine some cool looking dice, some lovely looking scenery, and some books which I'm told are not final but look gorgeous. The art is really kind of lush.
Thank you.
And Severance Package, which has a kind of twisted Ouroboros cover. Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you take a chance to look through it, I think a lot of the fun in these kind of cyberpunk sci-fi settings is when things mesh into a little bit more of like the occult or the real juxtaposition of like hard science fiction, but then like either religion or these kind of elements too. So yep, the Ouroboros in there, and a lot of other things thematically too that's a little bit of fun and very tongue-in-cheek as well.
Okay, yes, it seems darkly comic seems like the
absolutely.
When it's a cyberpunk game, dark comedy is kind of part of the vibe.
I think we're a little bit too close to it in reality otherwise, right?
Yes, yeah, and then you start to worry about everything. So we'll distract ourselves with games.
That's right, yeah, just speak a little bit closer to the microphone for us as well. This is going to Zuckerberg and everyone, I hope, as well. Great, yeah.
Well, I'm going to put this on the internet.
Excellent,
Everyone gets to hear it in theory.
Perfect. And hopefully enough content here to like do some deep fake AIs of us as well. That'd be perfect.
Well, that's the dream, yeah. And then I can create things to sue you with. There we go. So Mosscan is kind of like a sort of animal character-led fantasy.
That's right, absolutely. So a bit more of like a dark fantasy setting, but trying to maintain that optimism with it as well. So players kind of find themselves, there's clashes between the environment and ironically, the animal characters, but like nature versus civilization. And also things like, gods versus creators as well. Yeah, a lot of different kind of, again, juxtaposing themes there as well. But as we said, a focus on especially teamwork, and that's really kind of affected through the gameplay too. So D20 system where your modifier rolls the other dice, makes things very easy. And there's also a shared pool of D6s that represent either like positive or negative or maybe stable or unstable energy. And that's a means of like, hey, you really want to do something, you want to have your great set piece. I can provide some of my energy dice to keep the momentum going, keep the fun going as well, without having to like kind of interrupt anything. There's nothing worse than having like a bad dice roll interrupt the action and everything too, kind of a falling forward mechanic. Again, in the face of this very dark, grim setting, be a little bit of hope still too.
Sounds interesting. And that is, so it's not out yet, that will be going to some kind of crowdfunding?
Absolutely. That'll be on Kickstarter on approximately July the 30th. So if anyone attending Gen Con or anything like that, or over in the Americas, As well, we'll be releasing a free quick start or test play around about early June as well.
Okay, so any day now then?
Absolutely, yeah. Who's counting? Yeah.
Listener, by the time you listen to this, it will be available, and where will it be available from?
So this one, we'll be releasing that one for free online, so we'll make sure to send some links through to you, and then otherwise, people can check it out via Kickstarter and everything there as well.
Okay, and is that on mosscairn.com or?
It'll be via our social media or our artist Martin McCoy as well. We'll make sure to disseminate that one as much as possible for people. Yeah, absolutely. We'll flick it through to you.
Listener, look out for so on our social media, we'll be bumping that as this episode goes out. So right now, go and check out Twitter and Blue Sky, and you'll see where to find the quick start and the crowdfunding campaign. Thanks very much, Will.
Appreciate
Have a great card.
Thanks very much. You too. Cheers for time.
I'm here at day 2. It's the Saturday of UK Games Expo 2024, and I'm here with Dave.
Hello.
Dave, tell us about what happened in this room, because it was bizarre alchemy that took place.
Well, there was cybernetically enhanced critters. At least one dolphin got galvanised. We think they lost 5 goblins on that table, and one of your players got almost corrupted into a zombie.
Yeah. So to step back just one step for our listener. All true. I have just taken part in the session that you were running, which is RPG DIY.
Yeah, so the idea is that we get small groups who may or may not have met each other before, 5, 6 people. They make a game in an hour, and then we playtest it for another hour. So I've got a worksheet to kind of go through. It's 5 pages, and I kind of guide people through it, and it tends to catch people by surprise how much of an actual game comes out of it sometimes.
Yes, yeah. So you put in just a kind of really quite a small amount of scaffolding about how the game would work, but really the hard work that you've done was about how to work through the process.
Yeah.
So we started with the assumption it's going to use 6-sided dice, and it's going to be a traditional GM and player-led system, which just took a bunch of decisions away from us.
Yeah, it's really needed for it to work in that time.
Absolutely.
The other show that I do, Ludomachy, is a slightly different format. That's more led by me. It's more of a show. I have a character that I play for it, and it's more silly. It's more show-like, more entertainment-y.
Sure.
And that one doesn't have the same restrictions. We don't even know if we're making a role-play game. We could be making anything. We made a board game yesterday. But because that's more actively led by me and it's not in separate groups, I can afford to do that.
Sure.
Because I can spot the group consensus and jump, push towards it. Whereas obviously I can't do that for 9 separate groups. Absolutely
not. No, it was a really great experience, listener, and just kind of demystified making role-playing games. It can be simple. I mean, I'm not sure we have any award winners here. I'm not sure the Diana Jones Award is going to be given out to anything that was created in this room, but
I mean, the Angels and Demons one, I think they are actually planning on, they've swapped detail. I think they're planning on doing something with it, which is always great,
Look out as well for space elves dealing with zombies on a space station. We haven't quite worked out the name yet.
Names are always the worst bit.
We've definitely exchanged email details. So, listener, maybe at some point you'll be able to play the game that we wrote as a group. But it was, a really fun experience. So, thank you very much.
Great. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. This is why I do it. It's for people to have fun,
And if our listeners want to find you and do this sort of thing, where else do you do this sort of workshop, or does it just come around each year at the UK Games Expo?
It just happens sometimes. It's not even always at the expo. I'm really bad for promotion and organising things. I'm just very busy at the moment. I've started a PhD in occult gaming.
Okay, that would take up some time.
Yeah, so I don't know when I'm going to next run it, unfortunately. However, all the materials are Creative Commons, and if people find them and want to share them, they can run it. Just not got any good way of sharing them with people.
Okay.
I mean, you could give you a link you could add to where you're distributing your podcast if you want.
So, listener, get in touch if you want. I shall also post that link on the D20 Future Show's social media. Otherwise, Dave, do you have social media people can find you at?
Not really.
No. Okay. If you see Dave, let him know you're interested in game design. Thanks so much, Dave.
No problem.
I'm at the UK Games Expo, and this time I'm with...
Steph from Fistful of Crits.
Brill. And what do you do?
I am a game designer for 5e and also indie TTRPGs.
Okay.
I make apparel, artwork, stickers, products, things like that. Anything that interests me, really, in the hobby.
So I see we've got a bunch of things labelled indie TTRPGs.
Yes.
Tell me about some of these. What's going on? And,
Two
and
very
how is
different
it?
vibes. I've got the Breathing, which is based on the Breathless system by Fari RPGs. Super easy to pick up for a group. It's very like House of Leaves, Piranesi style dungeon delve. You are trying to win your freedom back into the outside world by finding knowledge that hasn't been found before.
Okay.
But there are creatures called the Breathless who will try and steal your breath from you. So it's a dungeon exploration game. And then Afterglow is also a system based on a system from Fari RPGs by Firelights. And you play as a Dawn Carver or a Night Weaver, trying to bring back the gods that have hung in stasis in the world. You can play it solo, journaling, or interchangeable with another person, so two-player. You explore the world, you battle monsters, and you decide what to do with the wizard who cast the world into peril.
All right, both of which have lovely art. Afterglow, listener, has just a beautiful rose gold detailing on it, and a really lovely kind of warm sunshine. I'm going to assume sunset, judging by the colours and the vibe. These are good-looking sort of zine-style games, yeah?
Yes, yeah.
And then I see there's lots of kind of arty art, lots of pin-ups and things.
Yes.
That's also kind of your thing.
Yeah, so these are the pin-up party girls. So I'm kind of making my way through the D&D classes, but with a tinge of humour as well. So yeah.
And then you also do, you said some 5e stuff.
Yes.
Our listeners have got tired of buying things from Wizards of the Coast, but I've been playing D&D for ages.
Yes.
What have you got in that kind of line?
So, because I also have been playing D&D for a long time, I kind of write what I want out of systems.
Sure.
So I'm pretty much known for Toe Beans, which is a magical cat cafe module.
Okay.
So
yep.
rather than starting in a tavern, start in a cat cafe.
Yep.
It's run by an arch warlock called Mara. All the cats are waiters. And it's pretty much known for its massive table props. So it comes with like a menu that you give out to players, recipe cards with enchantments, loyalty cards like a real cafe that with repeat visits your players can get extra rewards. Comes with its own magic items, its own sort of combat mechanics. It's really fun. And then the sequel is the owner goes missing and the players have to help the cats run the cafe.
Lovely stuff. And that's also called Toe Beans...
Toe Beans Winter.
Toe Beans Winter.
Yes.
Lovely stuff. And if our listeners want to find you and find your stuff, where can they go?
They can go to Instagram, X, or Twitter.
It's Twitter.
It's Twitter, yeah. You have to say X, but we're all calling it Twitter. Threads as Fistful of Crits, and then our online store is www.fistfulofcrits.co.uk.
Bro, thanks very much. Have a wonderful con.
You too. Thank you for stopping by.
I'm here. It is Saturday at the UK Games Expo 2024, and I'm here with Morris of EN Publishing and Morris's Unofficial Tabletop RPG Talk, the official podcast of Morris's Unofficial Tabletop RPG News. A podcast, the name of which I get wrong sometimes, so I wrote it down because you are very cruel. Russ, how's your UK Games Expo going?
Oh, well, we meet again.
We do, yes.
This keeps happening. It's going really well.
Excellent.
So it's always weird because Friday is always really quiet and then Saturday it explodes.
There's a sort of human tsunami at the beginning of the day. Yes.
So like in the first 2 hours this morning or Saturday, we sold 3 times as much as we sold all day yesterday on Friday. That's just what this place is like. It's like Friday, then Saturday, and then Sunday's kind of middle in between the two.
Okay.
At least that's our experience. I can't talk for anyone else.
So what are the big sellers this year?
So we saw quite a lot of our sort of 3-book sets of Level Up. We do a nice little bundle of all 3 books for 125 quid. And people are snapping those up, which is lovely.
Excellent.
And we've also got a whole bunch of 5e books over on the other side of the stand over there, which are going like hotcakes.
So that's sort of pre-Level Up?
Yeah, they're older products of ours, so we've got them reduced a little bit, but they're going like hotcakes, which is lovely too.
But nonetheless, given that Level Up Advanced 5th Edition is fully compatible with 5e,
they're all
so
compatible.
is all of that.
Yeah.
So,
The only disappointment we do have is we have a Level Up starter box, which was supposed to be here.
Right.
It's still on a boat, somewhere between China and here, so unfortunately we don't have it here this year.
That is less less launchable then.
Yeah. So we'll have it in our store soon, but
okay.
We were hoping to be able to launch it here.
But the starter box you do have.
So we're actually attached together by a wire.
We're attached
here.
together.
But
this being an audio medium, Russ will point and then I'll describe the thing he's pointing at.
We're walking over to the.
He's pointing at the floor.
Yeah. So this is the and the level up starter box is very similar to this, just obviously different books and different tokens.
Sure.
But basically, this is the What's Old is New starter box. Everything you need to get started. So what we're looking at here, which the listeners cannot see, but I assure you it looks gorgeous and pretty and amazing.
Stunning.
Stunning. We got 3 softcover adventures.
Yep.
Rule book. Thicker rule book.
Yep.
Whole bunch of pre-generated characters. We've got maps, and we've got lots and lots of sheets of tokens. And the level up starter box is just like this, except obviously it's level up, not What's Old is New. But the same components, basically. And yeah, it's cool. I'm so happy with how these turned out. They came out gorgeous.
It does look very nice.
Yeah.
So the unique selling point around What's Old is New is it's a science fiction and modern action and fantasy role-playing game, but all 3 elements are compatible with each other.
Yeah. So it's not, because I distinguish it from a multi-genre game, which does all. It's not like Savage Worlds or something covers pretty much every genre. Whereas we decided not to do that, take quite that broader scope. We decided to pick 3 genres and do each of them really well and make sure they're all compatible. So we've got sort of space fantasy in a sort of Star Trek, Star Wars kind of style. We've got modern action in the kind of 80s action flick kind of style. Or the James Bonds or the A-Teams for those who remember the A-Team. And fantasy in a sort of, traditional sort of Tolkien-esque style.
Sure.
A little less high fantasy than, say, D&D, but
nonetheless, orcs, elves, swords, magic spells, and presumably something else that rhymes with those 2 things.
So we attacked each of those kind of like lovingly and did each of those really well. And then just thought, okay, there's another 50 million genres out there, but we're not going to claim that we cover all of them. You probably could, but we're going to say these are the things that we really say this is what we've done.
And the box set covers those 3 genres.
Yeah.
Everything you need to get started and then decide which of the big hardbacks you want to get.
Very much a slimmed down version of the rules. Very much so. Like each of those core rule books is 300 odd pages.
Yeah, they're hefty tomes.
This is
a much more approachable.
I don't know. 90 pages-ish? Not even that. No, not even that.
And that includes stat blocks for all of the NPCs and so on.
Yeah, everything. Everything you need is in there. Everything. Absolutely. Yeah, super happy with that. It's kind of like we kind of like zipped our, because what we know how to make is things like that, the books.
Sure.
We know how to make a book, we know how to sell a book, we know how to produce a book, all that stuff we know how to do, and we've done it for years. All this stuff is kind of new to us in the last year. So the 2 box sets are kind of dipping our toes in the water, because we've got something really big coming out soon called the Void Runners Codex.
Yes.
Which is our sci-fi level up box set, which is going to be the most, I think, probably complex in terms of physical objects project we've ever done, because it's got 2 hardcover books in it, it's got a softcover adventure, it's got a whole bunch of poster mats, it's got loads of tokens, it's all in a sort of slipcase box thing, and also it's got this magnetic wraparound GM screen which goes around the whole thing.
Okay.
So it's the most sort of, complex is the wrong word, the most sort of like lavish thing that we've ever made.
Yeah.
Sort of like after we've learned how to do all the different bits with these box sets.
Applying all that knowledge to the Void Runners Codex.
So it's going to be really interesting to see how that comes out.
And the Void Runners Codex is taking the advanced 5th edition system and engine, but applying it to science fiction and science fantasy games.
Yeah. So it is in itself, it's got no magic in it. It's science fiction in the Star Wars, Star Trek-esque genre.
Okay.
But it is fully compatible. It's kind of like the way we did it with What's Old is New. Fully compatible with the fantasy stuff and the core level up books. Sure. So you can literally take anything out of the fantasy book and stick it in the sci-fi or vice versa and mix and match it all perfectly well. So if you want a sci-fi game, you use Void Runner. If you want a fantasy game, you use the level up core books. If you want a sort of like, dragons and elves in space type thing, just use them both. And it all works.
And that launches on, is it Kickstarter?
Tuesday. Kickstarter on Tuesday. So I don't know when this will come out, but Kickstarter will probably be done by then, I imagine.
That's a bit harsh, Russ. I did all right at Dragon Meat. Listener, by the time you hear this, unless I decide to simply delete it because Russ is being so rude, you will be able to find the Void Runners Codex on Kickstarter, and that will be what sort of pledge. So, the box set. Presumably, that's the sort of top tier, all the stuff, everything you need.
Yes.
Any kind of lower tiers? Is there a digital only version?
Yeah. So there's a digital version of the whole thing. We're selling the Void Runners Codex hardcover, which is one of the components, separately if you just want that.
Yeah.
But really, the big tier, the tier that is the focus of this, is like the physical box set with all the stuff in it, and then there's lots of add-ons as well, like these things always have. But that's the focus of it, that box set.
Righto.
But there'll be digital versions of everything because we always do that. And if you buy a physical thing, you always get the digital equivalent, for free.
And of course, if you get any digital products, you'll get essentially as fast as Jess can email it out after the thing closes.
Yeah. Well, basically, we set it up, so all you have to do is press go, pretty much. We got it all set up and ready to go. So all you have to do is hit submit as soon as the Kickstarter ends. That's how quickly we do it.
Okay. And I tell you what, I guess I'll speak to Jess about Split the Horde. But anything else exciting coming up in the world of EN World?
Well, we got the Level Up box set will be arriving on these shores soon. Once it manages to escape from the boat it's on, assuming the boat doesn't sink or something.
Well, nothing complicated has ever happened with shipping stuff around the world before.
Never.
Bound to be simple.
Yeah. Then later this year, obviously, we've got Split the Horde, which is our first ever non-RPG. It's a card game, which we're excited about. But Jess can tell you more about that because she's the expert on that one. That's been her project, that one. And then we got for Level Up, we've got Monstrous Menagerie 2 coming out later this year,
which is more monsters for
so Monstrous Menagerie is basically our most popular book.
Yeah,
people love it, especially since it's so easy just to use with 5e. Yeah, it's just better versions of monsters. And Monstrous Menagerie 2 is more of the same.
So what did you miss out of Monstrous Menagerie 1 that is going to go in Monstrous Menagerie 2?
We got more dragons, we got some more demons, we got a crap load of brand new monsters.
Okay.
Totally new ones, because Monstrous Menagerie 1 was all pretty much sort of core 5e monsters updated.
Yeah.
So Monstrous Menagerie 2 allows us, so it's about half of it is more of those, but half of it is definitely brand new stuff that we've come up with.
And any personal favourites as of now? Or am I asking you to pick between your children?
Well, yeah, you do, that is difficult. I like some of the stuff we've done with dragons. Some of the stuff we do with dragons is kind of what people were clamouring for, so it's kind of more of the spirit dragons and things like that. And a couple more old great worm dragons, which couldn't fit in the other one.
Yep.
I like what we've done with some of the demons because it kind of links into our Planes Riders Journal, where we had Noldo, which is our equivalent of sort of hell or the lower planes, and some of the demons, brand new demons, including some of the really big powerful ones, are in Monstrous Menagerie 2, which is kind of fun. And there's Peter, Peter's not here right now, but Peter, also from our podcast, obviously.
Of course.
Designed a couple of weird, creepy mushroom-type creatures, which one of which is I believe that Peter is bothered by the way dark vision works in sort of 5e games.
Yeah.
And therefore designing these mushrooms basically to punish all dark vision parties. Because the only thing that scares them off is lit torches. So if you're going through with an all dark vision party, you A, apparently can't see them for some reason, and B, you're their prey. Because
you do not have the lit torches required.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So DMs who feel similarly bitter about everyone taking dark vision.
Exactly.
Now you know what to do.
Exactly. I find that funny. So
excellent. Well, thank you so much, Russ, for your time.
You
have
are
a
welcome,
wonderful
as always.
And good luck with the Void Runners Codex.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's still Saturday, it's still the UK Games Expo 2024, and I'm here with... Pause for introduction. The Princess of RPG Publishing, the Lady of Live Streaming, the Marchioness of making sure your Kickstarter rewards go out as soon as possible after the campaign closes. It's the one, it's the only.
It's me, Jessica from EM Publishing. That was really great. You'd written a little, for context, people listening, there's a little note that he opened up on his phone that he pre-prepared. That was amazing. Thank you so much.
I know that when Peter introduces you,
they do,
you get a big long introduction.
I do every week. It's my Friday hype up. I had it yesterday at the live stream, which was nice. But now I've had it on Saturday as well. What a treat, what a dream.
So, hey, who are and what do you do?
Who are, what do? So my name, like I said, I'm Jessica. I work for EM Publishing, the tabletop RPG publisher. I am the business manager, so I do all the boring, non-creative things like logistics, fulfillment, marketing, yelling at Morris to make sure that he does things on time. I try and make him answer emails and fail. That's basically my job.
A thankless task.
Yes, indeed.
But very much the mechanism that makes all of this. So, listener, we are still surrounded by the EN Publishing stand, covered in gorgeous books. And
indeed.
Presumably tables and racks and things that also didn't just happen without your intervention.
Yes, I do all the event stuff as well, which is fun because it means I get to come to events like the UK Games Expo.
Absolutely, I'll be surrounded by lots of people.
Indeed, and get to
games.
talk about games and teach games and play games all day, which, what a treat, what a dream.
Speaking of games,
yes,
we have in front of us something that I think we saw the concept for last year, an early playtest, which is Split the Horde.
Indeed, yes. So this is Split the Horde. It is a strategic card game for 2 to 5 people. It takes about 20-30 minutes to play, so it's quite quick. It's one of those games that RPG session, someone's turning up late, let's have a quick game of this before we get settled into the big game. And the concept is very much for an RPG audience. So the theme is, you've just killed the dragon, you're adventurers, and you are now have this big pile of treasure. How are you going to split it up between you? So there's a bit of negotiating, maybe a bit of stealing, and a bit of wheeling and dealing to get the hoard and loots that you want. So it's a set collection game with I cut, you pick mechanics. And it's quite simple mechanically to play, but it's quite strategic because the cards have a lot of information and depth on it. We had an early prototype here last year. We've got another prototype here which has moved on, and we're looking to take it to Kickstarter this year, August or September 2024.
Okay, so pretty soon.
Pretty soon, yeah.
And this is kind of new for EN Publishing in that you guys, as Russ said, you do books. You're very good at books.
Yes.
I can agree. They look gorgeous.
Thank you.
They turn up, as far as I can tell. My copy of New has not fallen apart yet.
Exactly, and there's words in them as well.
And usually the right ones.
Yes.
It's the dream. But cards is different.
Yes.
Is that easier, harder? Is that just different?
Well, we wanted to expand into board games because it's a different kind of market, so it opens up new people, and also there's a big overlap of people that play RPGs and play card and board games.
Of course.
Also, the reason we did that is because my background in history is with board games, so I've worked for board game publishers, I've worked for a bit for UK Games, and I've also worked in board game manufacturing for several years, and I used to own a board game cafe, so I very much am into my board games as well as RPGs. So when I joined, Russ was like, hey, board games are interesting, I don't know much about it, and I was like, I love games, I would love to lead this project. So I'm not the designer, to be clear, the designer is Mark Kenobi, but I am publishing it. So we put out a pitch for what we wanted. We wanted a simple kind of card game that was quite short, was simple to pick up the rules, but strategically had good depth to it, which this did out of all the pitches we had, and it happened to be Mark Kenobi, who is also a writer on Level Up Advanced 5th edition, so he understood our brand and worked with them before.
Sure.
And so it all just seemed to make sense, and that's what we're doing now.
So I have in front of me lovely looking kind of ancient-y, medievally art with heavy fantasy themes. Cards look great. How close to the final product do we feel we are now?
Very close. So we have part of the games, you're competing for some open titles which are scoring mechanics. There's 2 of them that are being tweaked slightly. The graphic design is slightly being tweaked and changed. We're doing some colour correction and moving some symbols around, but it's pretty much there. We're pretty ready to go and we're really happy with it. We're actually on the website going to be putting up the latest copy of the rulebook soon, and also a free virtual tabletop version, so you can have a play whilst the Kickstarter's live. So you'll be able to have a look at it then. But that'll be on empublishingrpg.com. There's a little banner that says Split the Horde, and you click on there and all the stuff is there.
All the stuff is there. Brill. Anything else upcoming? Any other kind of
oh my goodness,
dreams?
Has Russ been telling you about Void Runners Codex?
Russ has mentioned little else, yes.
Okay, so we got the Void Runners Codex coming, but which Russ has already spoken about, and I won't bore you that again. We also have the Monstrous Menagerie 2 coming out later this year in October, which is very exciting. I was asked to design a goose for it, but declined.
That feels like cowardice.
Well, I didn't know mechanically what interesting I could do with a goose, and I do have a healthy fear and respect for geese as a monster. I think it should be in any D&D monster book, but I couldn't think of anything interesting to do, so I declined that one, of course.
I was at Paul Flannery's Questony last night, and we encountered the Breville goose. Part goose, part sandwich toaster.
See, I would never have thought that.
Fearsome monster.
I thought I'd leave it to the experts. I would never thought of doing a sandwich toaster with a goose, and that sounds amazing. So yeah, but the main things is we got Split the Horde coming, Monstrous Menagerie, Void Runners Codex. That's all coming this year onto Kickstarter. So yeah, very exciting times.
Exciting stuff, and no doubt more in the future, particularly, I guess, if Split the Horde is a big success, maybe more board and card games to come.
Russ is actually working on another board game which is called Space Fight.
Okay.
Where it's like a starship combat game.
Right.
So that is in development currently. So depending on development timeframes, might be out next year to Kickstarter, or maybe the year after, depending on how it goes. We're currently playtesting it and developing it. But yes, that's the plan.
Thank you so much, Jess, for your time. Have a lovely con.
Thank you for that gorgeous intro. It was nice to have it on a Saturday.
You're very welcome. It's still Saturday. It is still the UK Games Expo 2024, and I'm here with
Kirsty
and
Amy,
and together, your powers combined, you are
Women Who D&D.
Listener, we did rehearse that, but they also nailed it in rehearsal. And who and what is Women Who D&D?
So, we are two friends who have got together and we put on workshops, beginner games and social nights for women, femme-presenting and non-binary folk to sort of learn the basics of D&D and basically get more femme people around the table, because I think everyone knows that D&D can be quite a male-dominated sort of game, and we're trying to just broaden that really and get more people out there.
But it's kind of see it as more like a springboard for those individuals to then go into the game at any table, if it's all men or if it just give them that confidence to go and play the game with other people.
So we sort of teach the beginnings of it, teach the mechanics, and then take you through the logistics of making your own character, and then you go through a short combat session at the end of it with your character, and then we let you loose into the wild to join any D&D tables with your new character, and hopefully enough of a background and enough of an understanding to sort of feel comfortable around a D&D table and not feel like the new person or someone that needs everything explaining to them. It's like Amy said, it's giving the confidence to go out there and try D&D for yourself.
Brilliant. And how long have you been doing that?
Coming up to a year now.
Yeah, it was June last year that we accidentally started Women Who D&D.
Yeah, it did start all completely by accident, basically.
So how did that come about then?
Well, we were playing a campaign for about a year with your husband's the DM, isn't he? And between us we said, wouldn't it be funny if we hosted a one-shot, which is when you play the game from A to B, with all our female friends, just to see how the dynamic would be different. So between us we put out a status on our social media, and within 24 hours we'd had 40 responses from women, and not just our friends as well, people who knew people saying we really want to play, but my husband plays it, or my brother plays it, or the games aren't for beginners, so we don't really know how to play, but we want to. So we said, right, should we get some groups together and teach them how to play? And then it just snowballed from there, really.
Yeah, D&D, I guess initially it can be really intimidating in that if you were to try and explain what is role-playing, I mean, that whole books have been written on it. Almost every role-playing game has a not particularly good chapter on it, but sometimes, it can be really intimidating, particularly if I mean, the last thing you want to do is be handed a big hardback book and told, "Well, read that, and then we can explain." So
exactly, yeah, and exactly that's how I think a lot of people that we were speaking to sort of had that understanding that that's what it was, like that they'd gone to tables and they wanted to join, but everyone who we knew was sort of 2 years into the game, or like were well experienced players, and like so they didn't want to be a hindrance and they didn't want to hold people back, and so it was like, right, well, if we sort of show you the ropes, then would that be of interest? And we did it for a group of 7 or 8 people, mainly our friends, and then there was one of our friends who came to it, did a newspaper article about it. She worked for a local paper, and the creepy Google algorithm picked it up, spread it way further than the local area, and then it's just kind of snowballed from there. But I think the fact that it started just from like want to play D&D with our women friends, and now we're holding workshops and we're at events like this and showcasing what we do.
As we went, we found that there were people saying, what about presenting people, or what about LGBTQ plus or non-binary, what about those people, because they're in the same sort of position. So we just opened it up to all those individuals as well, and we found there's like quite a big society of people out there who want to play role-playing games, not just Dungeons and Dragons. So
while we do the workshops for women and femme presenting people, because we know that it's not so much about getting we're not an anti-man group.
We're definitely not an anti-man group.
But it's about basically just creating a space for people who wouldn't necessarily feel confident just going in and sitting at a table full of cis-het guys, really, or like just your stereotypical D&D game. It's about creating sort of a safe, judgment-free environment and getting more and more people around the table.
I think we're finding as well, actually, we're getting a lot of support from men too. We've got a lot of support and a lot of fans out there who are like, we are men, but we really want to be part of your group and we want to help be allies in this sort of, it's almost become a mission statement, hasn't it?
Yes. So we've got a few game masters that we have sort of not on our books, but like they run games on behalf of Women Who D&D. And that's open to all genders. So we've got women GMs and we've got men GMs as well, who, so long as they follow the sort of mission statement and they're following the same sort of guidelines as we put out there, then more the merrier, really.
Which I guess is the point. I mean, ultimately, more people playing is, except for a very few bunch of weirdos, generally speaking, more people playing is good. Just fundamentally, more people being prepared to bring more stories to the table, I think, is a good thing.
And everyone has a different take on it as well. I think the more diversity you can get around the table, the more interesting stories come out of it. And like everyone's got a different gaming style, everyone's got a different gaming perspective, and getting to a table where you've got all these different personalities from all these different backgrounds, and it's, you can run the same sort of one shot or same campaign 3 or 4 times and get a completely different story every single time, and that's been really
it's
fun.
Been a lot of fun, It's almost like a social experiment, isn't it?
So you've been at the con all day so far today? You weren't here on Friday, is that right?
Yeah, we've just arrived today, so we've travelled over today and we're here today and tomorrow as well.
Okay, and what have you done so far?
So we've shopped around a bit, and we've been to a networking event with Women of TTRPG, which is an online community, and just been mingling and meeting
a lot of mingling.
Meeting new people, handing out business cards and stickers and stuff, and
living the networking dream.
Exactly.
For real. And any kind of fixed plans for the next day or so?
Well, we've done like I said, we did the networking event. We're going to sort of an extension of the networking event later on. We're going up for like a meal with quite a few of the women we met today.
Oh, lovely.
But other than that, we're just going to play games and
try not to spend too much money.
try not to buy all the dice that I see.
It can be a problem. Brilliant. Well, thank you both so much for your time. If our listeners want to find out more about Women Who D&D, where can they go and what will they find when they go there?
They can go to our website, which is womenwhod&d.com. They can go to Instagram, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, pretty much
Discord. We've got a Discord channel.
We've got a Discord channel, and it's all Women Who D&D with an N, and we're on pretty much everything at this point, so you'll find us somewhere.
Okay, listener, run from them, they are inevitable. Well, thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful rest of your con.
Thank you very much.
That was in time as well.
I know.
It is coming towards the end of Saturday at UK Games Expo 2024, but I've managed to corner Panny from Salvage Union. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad. We are here with the Booth of the Beast. You are Hall 2666.
Oh yeah, we've got a post-apocalyptic mech game here, which is not the right theme at all.
No.
The Malt Ball guys should probably have that stand.
Did you have to pay more to get this, or?
No, but we can't say what else we did.
Okay, fair enough. For let's say it's only legal reasons you can't say.
Yeah.
And how is the con going for Leyline Press?
Really good, actually. Yeah, it's great to see everyone. It feels like it gets bigger every year, and there's like even more games every year, and it's going great. Yeah.
For real. Hey, this looks like this may be the first year Salvage Union is out with a bunch of hardcover adventures and stuff. Is that's right?
That's correct. Yeah. Salvage Union officially launched December the 1st, 2023.
Okay.
And, so it's the first year, and it's the first time. Yeah, the core book and all the adventure modules have been at UK Games Expo.
Exciting. And I watched Alan just sort of wave one at somebody who immediately bought it. So presumably whatever you did to get stall 666 is working.
It is. Yeah. The what shall not be named was excellent. I would recommend it to anyone who wants to do it.
But at what cost?
But at what cost?
Oh dear, you can tell it's the end of the second day.
Yeah.
If this interview had rails, we'd lost them a long time ago.
Yeah.
So let's quickly talk about the pitch for Salvage Union, and then maybe talk about some of the other things you've got in your stall.
So yeah, Salvage Union is a post-apocalyptic mech game with easy-to-learn mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
You play as salvagers who scour the wasteland for scrap and use that scrap to support your community who live in a giant mech called a Union Crawler, and of course to upgrade their mechs and their pilots and to survive in the wastelands.
Okay, and we've got a number of adventures that were kind of part of the Kickstarter but are now real things as well.
Indeed, yeah. So all of the adventures take the game in different directions. They also add new content. Mm-hmm. So they have new mech systems and modules to customize with, as well as new rules. We Were Here First is a gonzo kind of Mad Max style adventure, but with mutants. It's written by Emmy Award winner Diogo Nogueira, and it has biomechs, so mechs made out of meat. False Flag is an in-house one by myself and Aled Lawler, and is a sort of industrial Cold War themed adventure set in a northern wasteland where you're caught between two corporations fighting over nanites, and as a result there's rules for nanite mechs. There's extra like industrial mechs and mechs that are good in the cold, and it's all about tough choices. And finally, Rainmaker by also Emmy Award winner Luke Gearing is a exploration noir diesel punk adventure set in a world that has been warped by a weather making device. So there's loads of different really interesting varied biomes to explore. There's frozen wastelands, there's jungles, there's deserts, and you explore them to find the Rainmaker keys and hopefully unlock the power of a weather making device. But of course the other factions within there, the corpos, warlords and wastelanders, all want to find that Rainmaker key as well.
So that's Salvage Union, powered by the Quest engine, easy to learn. Played it, I think, quite late in playtesting, so it must be pretty close to the final version. And it's the modules and the mech designing is where the kind of the complication is. Gameplay is you roll dice, big numbers are good.
Yep.
Which is in stark contrast to a number of mech games that are a bit more challenging to run.
Indeed. But also shall not be named.
And then we've got a bunch of other stuff. Presumably one of the great Brexit benefits is that we have Shadow of Mog available.
Yeah, well, Shadow of Mog, so when I designed Shadow of Mog, which is a post-Brexit role-playing game set in the London Underground, where you play as a group of survivors, people said it's too niche, Brexit's just going to be over, it's going to lose its, sense, Mog's going to be out. Nope, he's still about. And Brexit is still relevant, and probably will be for a long time.
Forever.
So, which means it's going to be a constant seller.
There you go.
What a genius I am.
You saw the future.
I did. I saw it would be bad, and I capitalised on it.
It's what he would have wanted.
It is. Yes, it is. It is. Yeah.
I see a couple of other things I've not seen before. So I've seen Horse Girl. What's the pitch for Horse Girl? Because it's something very different.
Yeah. So Horse Girl is a solo journaling game where you play as a woman who falls in love with a man and agrees to live with him on the sole condition that she be mentally and physically transformed into a horse.
Right, okay. And I think, listener, you probably know immediately whether or not that's for you. And if it is, there's only one... Well, I mean, there's not only one place you can get it. Beyond Cataclysm will get upset because you can get it from them as well.
Indeed.
But there's only one game like it, I think it's probably fair to say.
Yeah, and really it's a exploration through the body horror medium of problematic relationships and how we may well stay in them even though all the signs point to leaving. And really the ultimate goal of the game is to try and get out and sort of become like free from that relationship. But there's also a lot of different ways to interpret it. It is a game as art, and I think that's why we wanted to publish it. It's by Samuel Mew, who's a incredible creator who does lots of really interesting, evocative role-playing games.
And then we've got another solo game sitting next to it in a, judging by the cover, in a slightly different genre.
Indeed, yeah. So that's Foundations. It's a world-building game by Tom Anna. You play with a series of card-based prompts that guide you in drawing a map and writing a history of a fantasy world, starting with Pangaea and then splitting into continents, the first peoples, kingdoms forming, wars, the first kings, maybe how magic formed in the world. And at the end, you'll have a map and you'll have a chronicle of a history of a world, and then that can be for, like, if you've got a D&D campaign, you can throw that in there. If you writing a novel or you want some inspiration for like some creative writing, it's good for that, or just for the fun of it. It's quite a fun creative exercise just to sit and draw a map and write out some pretend history.
Excellent. And what's next, I guess, is for Leyline Press. Presumably you've finished basking in the success of Salvage Union and it's time to do something new?
Yeah, well, we are up for Best RPG at UK Games Expo, at least the People's Choice, so the basking hasn't quite finished. You never know.
Hopefully further basking to come. Excellent.
Some more basking, but we are working on some new projects. The most prominent, which I play tested at UKGE, is Cyblock, which is a cyberpunk mega dungeon, mega tower for the system Cyborg. It's like a 50-story Judge Dredd kind of mega tower that you're exploring floor by floor, and it's going to be insane. It's going to be like a 650-page A4 book.
Okay.
With every floor detailed and loads of new content for Cyborg. It's probably coming to crowdfunding at some point. It's in very early stages, but we're excited about it.
Okay, and anything else?
Yeah, we're also looking at a project called Guardians of Achaia, which is a pixel art dungeon crawler, but I'm sort of imagine like a JRPG, but instead of being like more medieval fantasy influenced, as many of them are, it's got a kind of ancient Greek kind of Bronze Age influence, so it's exploring a big pixel sea map of the Aegean, effectively, and then going in there exploring temples of the gods, and then playing in a very sort of fast-paced way with like video game logic running through it. So yeah, that's potentially a sort of interim project we're working on as well, which we're quite excited about.
So plenty to come from Leyline Press.
Yeah, watch this space. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for your time, Panny.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure.
It's almost the end of the second day of UK Games Expo 2024, but I'm here with Lenny from 1985 Games. What's that, and what do you do, Lenny?
1985 Games is a publishing company, so we got started doing Dungeon Craft, which is 2D terrain.
Okay, so I'm being shown some kind of like cut out templated things.
Instead of drawing a green circle and saying it's a tree, you can put a tree down. Then when the tree's on fire, you can flip it over. It's very exciting.
Right. Okay.
So we got our start doing sets of 2D terrain and maps, and now we do dice and pins and stickers, and we have these really cool VHS dice that are in VHS type boxes.
Viewer, they are incredible. If you're old enough to remember VHSs, then I'm looking at a VHS cassette, but it's a set of dice inside. Those are beautiful. That's some really nice work.
And then our big exciting project last year was we did our first D&D source book called Obajima.
Yep.
And it's Studio Ghibli inspired art.
Okay. Oh,
and
lovely.
So I don't have any here, but this is the sample from Free RPG Day, which you can have.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's called Truffle Festival, and then it'll be at Free RPG Day. I think all that's getting delivered within like 2 weeks. So it's at local game stores.
Excellent. So look out for that wherever people are saying they're taking part in Free RPG Day. Anything else? I mean, how is the con going? It's going well?
The con's going great. Everyone's really nice. I'm liking the UK, and all the Brits are nice. Most of the time I can understand what you're saying, but every once in a while my American ears are like, huh? What?
I assume that's someone with a weird accent from somewhere in the UK.
There are just some words that are a little different, so that's all. But yeah, it's great. I'm really enjoying it here.
Fantastic. So would recommend.
Absolutely.
Brill. Thank you so much for your time, Lenny, and I hope you have a really successful Sunday as well, and maybe we'll catch you again.
Thank you. Thanks for coming by.
It's Sunday morning. I'm once again here at the UK Games Expo, and I've swung by the Syrenscape stand, and I'm here with...
Hi, I'm Steve Barr. I'm the Community and Content Manager for Syrenscape.
Hi, Steve.
Do you know a great deal about Syrenscape as yet?
Let's assume our listener knows nothing about Syrenscape.
Lovely. So Syrenscape is an app that puts in dynamic sound to your role-playing games. So we make the official sounds for Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, Call of Cthulhu, Cyberpunk, Evil Genius, and a whole host of other big gaming companies. And what that basically means is that when we build our sound sets, we build them for their pre-written adventures. So if you're playing, for instance, Vecna, either Ruin, the new D&D campaign, we've got every single scene, every location, has all got all the sounds built for them, all the music. And for the Games Master, you can just literally click a little button, changes the sound, changes that entire environment for your players and what they get to hear. So it really helps you to increase the story, build up the tension. Lots of other sound sets for generic games, so even if you're not playing one of the big stories, you can use the sounds for your own games. Really kind of great for your homebrew, put your own music into it, and it just allows you to really kind of basically build that soundtrack just as if you're watching a movie, but when you're at your game table or when you're playing online.
So how much is kind of so some is available just for free to kind of show the system off? How much of that is available for free if they just go to your website and download?
So without even registering, just going straight to the website, we have there's about 10 sound sets on the app available for you to use straight away. If you register your account, you can then either purchase individual sound sets, or you can take a subscription to unlock the whole catalogue. We've got about 1,200 sound sets in there now, so we have sounds covering every type of genre you can think of, from modern day, Wild West, high fantasy, sci-fi. It's great. So with a Super Siren subscription, that gives you access to all of our sound sets, plus all the sounds that have been built by members of the community. So you end up with thousands of pieces of music, thousands of sound sets, all in an app that's just really easy and real simple for you to be able to use.
Okay, and how much is the subscription? Get me everything.
If you wanted to say Pathfinder or Dungeons & Dragons, that costs you $7.15 a month.
Okay.
Or our Super Siren, which is the subscription that unlocks everything, that's $10.99 a month. So it's only slightly more, and you're getting so much extra content with that. So it's definitely the best way to go.
We've got it here on lovely big computer monitors. So there's is it an app or a website? How does it work on the
computer?
Works
on everything actually. So we originally had it on like Android and iOS. Also works on PC, Mac, and Linux. So literally whatever type of device you're using at your game table, the app will work on it. We have a couple of different versions of the app. So we've got the web player, which just plays straight through the browser. That's our newer one. And then we've also got what we call the fancy player. That was originally designed for offline play. So if you're playing in a game cafe and you don't have access to the internet, you can just play through the straight through the app. Or if you've got someone that's got a good internet signal, play through the web player, and you've got all those added benefits then that come from anything that is on the web. So you've got a good search, you can easily filter through to find all those sounds. So it really is down to you to kind of like which platform works best for your games. And I say you can play online or in person. Different apps just give you different pros and cons for the situation that you're in.
Okay, and let's say our listeners are convinced. Where do they go to find out more?
So you can come straight to our website, which is syrenscape.com. From there, you can obviously have a look through our website. We've got some tutorial videos. We've got actual free sound sets that you can have a listen to on the site as well. And we've also got a great forum. So from there, straight from that website, go to the forum, and you can talk to some of our amazing community. And even if you've got an adventure that you want to run and you don't know what sound sets to use, we've got people that will help you on that community find the best sounds, point you in the right direction, and help you kind of curate that list.
Fantastic. So that's syrenscape.com.
That's right, yep.
Brill. Thanks so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your con.
Thank you. Thanks ever so much for being.
It's still Sunday morning at the UK Games Expo 2024, and I'm here with Steph from Cobblepath Games. How's your con going, Steph?
Hello, it's going good, yeah, thank you.
And tell us, who and or what are Cobblepath Games for those people who've forgotten from last year?
We are a small two-man studio. We develop games with thematic intent, where we try to tie in the game mechanics into mean something with the game. We make tabletop RPGs and LARPs, and yeah.
So the LARP is the kind of, that's sort of the new thing since we last spoke?
Yep, so we've been working on a LARP called Dreamlands. The concept, plot-wise, is the players players will turn up and get checked into a hotel, and the staff are all very nice, but really sorry that their world's ending.
Right, okay.
And that's the kind of cold open. There's no pre-reading, there's no other context, that's just the start of the LARP.
We're sorry for your inconvenience, but the world is going to end.
Yeah,
okay.
Enjoy your stay.
And where can our listeners find out about that? Where does that happen?
So that will be a UK-based LARP. We're doing a playtest this year, and if that's successful, then we'll be looking to run about, hopefully, 2 to 3 times a year going forward.
Okay.
The site that the playtest is going to be in, and hopefully some other future games as well, will be the Grange in Coventry, near Kenilworth. Really nice little site. They also do airsoft and stuff. Yeah, so that's Dreamlands. We've then got a print version available of Locust Dreadful Futures, to go back to TTRPGs.
Yes.
Dreadful Futures is our sci-fi guide. It contains a lot of advice and guidance and story prompts for making Locust games in a sci-fi setting with that sci-fi flavour. It doesn't include any rules changes, because you don't actually need rules changes to have Locusts in different places. You can do historical Locust, futuristic, as is, with the framework that's provided in the original books. But the sci-fi guide really delves into how sci-fi works with horror and how you can elevate your game using those elements.
Okay, so it's designed as a companion piece for the, maybe beautiful is not quite the right word, but the kind of grim, evocative cover, let's say, of Locust. So it goes with that as a kind of add-on to help GMs adapt it for a sci-fi experience.
Yeah, like, other than just setting it in the future, how do you really make it feel like, you know, the Event Horizon film? What elements of sci-fi and sort of that analysis of human nature and the what-if scenarios that are inherent to the sci-fi genre, how do you make those into a Locust game?
And what will be next? Other than the upcoming LARP, what's next for Cobblepath Games?
So we have a prequel to Locust that's very close to being finished, called Locust Insight, which is going to be a solo journaling game where you make the scenario that leads up to a Locust game.
Right, so GM prep and a solo journaling game. Their powers combined.
Exactly, yeah. We've also got some expanded games relating to our Stacks of Goblins game.
Yes.
The first one's going to be called Forts of Goblins.
Okay.
Which is going to be a kind of lay-flat board game, role-play game hybrid, where you must defend the Goblin King from onslaughts of geese.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we've also got a deck-building tower defense game, card-wise, for Stacks of Goblins as well. So we're calling, because it's Stacks of Goblins, we're calling it the Soggy U, the extended universe for Stacks of Goblins.
Excellent.
So we've got a few games coming out on the pipeline for that as well. We're also looking at getting into skirmish games. We've got a little cardboard standee skirmish game on the works as well. So we've got a lot of ideas in the pipeline. Insight's the closest one to being done and ready to go out.
And if our listeners want to find out about some of that or other things, where do they go?
They can go to our website, which is cobblepathgames.co.uk.
Now, listener, you can't possibly have told because of the smooth way she did it, but Steph picked up a card with a look of slight panic and then read the website. But it's all right.
It's fine.
She's definitely got it right, though, which is always good.
I definitely do. You can also find all of our games available digitally, except the LARP, on our itch.io page.
Listeners, check out Cobblepath Games wherever you find your games. Thanks so much, Steph, for your time. Have a great con.
No, thank you for coming by.
It's still Sunday. I'm still at the UK Games Expo 2024, and this time I've caught up with George from 3 Sail Studios. How is it going, George?
It's going really, really well. I mean, like, my voice is kind of coming back a little bit, but that's
always good. Yep.
For us, this is 3 full days in, because we had press preview on Thursday as well.
Absolutely.
So my voice is shaky, but it's been excellent. Obviously, people at home can't see, but you can see we've got 2 games running. The stand is busy. It's been busy all weekend. Our demo games have been booked out since Friday morning.
Fantastic.
So yeah, the response has been excellent.
And listener, I'm looking at lots of kind of green, verdant cards and images and so on for the game Mappamundi. Tell us about Mappamundi, George.
I will. So Mappamundi is an exploration and ecology RPG, and I'm going to give you the Marmite pitch right here. You ready for it?
Here it is.
The Marmite pitch is there is no combat in this game. It's a completely zero combat game.
Yep.
So we're 3 Sail Studios. Our motto is the real world done differently. So I'm the lead designer of the studio, and that motto is my core design philosophy, that the real world is interesting enough.
Sure.
And so Mappamundi is in a parallel version of our own world, which is identical in every way, except monsters exist. Huge giant monsters exist.
Yep.
But they are not hostile. Equally, they're not necessarily benevolent. They, like you are indifferent to a snail or an ant, they are indifferent to you. Your job is to go out into this world, which is on the brink of being unmade by fate. And it's to go out into the world as an adventuring academic, a chronicler, and document, observe, and engage with the world's creatures, cultures, monsters, and environments, and write the history, biology, and geography of the world, thereby saving it from extinction by locking it in Fate's design.
Okay, and I'm getting not a high crunch kind of vibe.
It's essentially a no crunch vibe. Mapper Money is a collaborative storytelling game.
Yep.
You can create a character in 2 minutes. All our skills are narrative based.
Yep.
You have 4 abilities: exploration, observation, traversal, and deduction. You have 1 die associated with each of those.
Yep.
We don't have experience, we have expertise. You are doing a job in this world. You are not born a druid or some kind of demigod or whatever. You are a human being who says, I will go out into the wild, send me out there. And so as you use those abilities, you don't level up your character, you level up your dice.
Yep.
So a D4 becomes a D6, becomes a D8, becomes a D12. Because we like to think that we get better at our jobs as we proceed, right? That's the idea,
we do,
at least.
yes.
So in this case, you get better at your job. You are able to attempt more difficult things because you've practiced and got more expert.
Yep. And driving the game with these lush cards.
Yeah, so these are our journey cards. The game is broken down into 3 phases: research phase, journey phase, and encounter phase.
Yep.
And what you do is during the research phase, your narrator is building a deck of these journey cards. Where the journeys phase happens, you play through those journey cards.
Okay.
But because it's a collaborative storytelling game, you are shaping. We have a mechanical shaping. You, as the players, tell the narrator what is in a rainforest, what is in a lagoon, what the cliff looks like, what animals and plants are there, and we all contribute to that collectively. Then the narrator carries it forward throughout the gaming experience.
So it's not out yet. It's going to some kind of crowdfunding.
So the pre-release guide is all of the rules, all of the characters, 1 region, and a pre-written adventure. It's available to download for free online. If people go to 3cellstudios.com, they can find us there.
Yep.
They find all the links there. We're going to crowdfunding with the full book and the full journey deck in February.
Okay, very exciting stuff. And there seems to be, like I say, we've got full tables of people engaged with creative, explorative storytelling. It's exciting stuff. Listener, look out for that. It's 3Cell Studios. That's 3Cells, the words, studios.com to find out more about Mapper Monday. Thanks so much for your time,
Thanks
George.
so much, man. I appreciate it.
It's still Sunday morning. I'm still at the UK Games Expo 2024. I am now at the Rowan Rook and Decard store with
Elaine Lithgow. Hello, producer.
Hello, and what do you produce, Elaine?
I am currently producing the various Heart and Spire books for Rowan Rook and Decard, the Destera line.
Okay, so they are at least nominally in the same universe, in that Heart is a dungeon crawler below the impossibly tall tower that is Spire.
Absolutely. The unreality, the beating heart, the terrible place where very sick people go to meet their grisly ends. I mean, chase their dreams, definitely. Chasing their dreams.
To chase dreams that may or may not have grisly ends.
Yeah. Look, we all know it's going to have a bad ending, but reaching that bad ending is half the fun.
It is the journey and the ending.
Absolutely.
So those are 2 distinct games that use pretty similar mechanics. Is that fair to say? Or
D10 dice pool, very similar mechanics. Spire came out first.
Yep.
So between Spire and Heart, there have been some mechanical refinements and whatnot. So a little bit the differences here and there, but not enough that it's going to take you more than like 2-3 minutes if you played one or the other to jump over.
Sure, and I guess the question is really, do you want to go up and try and overthrow an elf government, or do you want to go down and find out what is going on below?
Pretty much. There's a few softback splats as well that sort of blur the lines of the Venn diagram. We have Vermisian Black Ops that lets you take Heart characters on operations into Spire.
Yep.
And then we have Burned and Broken that lets you take some of your Spire characters, go through a wee adventure, and they'll end up in the Heart as well. So they're not church and state perfectly separated as well. You can cross over.
All right, but the new exciting thing in that kind of line is the new book, Dagger in the Heart.
Yes, Dagger in the Heart.
Tell our listeners about Dagger in the Heart.
Dagger in the Heart is the first hardback, big, chunky adventure module for Heart the State Beneath. It's written by Gareth Hanrahan.
And with that really evocative art that kind of Heart is kind of known for.
Yes.
You know where you are with Heart. You're not having a good time, but you're having a good time not having a good time.
Yes, very grisly, very gory, very lovely. Every page is a delight. During the backer kit campaign, we actually sold the chapter start original arts.
Okay.
From Felix, and they sold out almost immediately. They're beautiful art, and they do it all like traditional by hand as well, ink, line art and whatnot, and then take it in digital and touch up. So that's really beautiful. But yes, this is the first big campaign adventure for Heart, which has kind of proven to be a very interesting challenge, because Heart is often, it's the story of these like self-destructive people who go on this like spiral down into madness, and with the power levels of the characters in Heart, you know, when it gets to the point where I'm summoning an extra dimensional train that's going to kill everything in the scene and myself, it's like, well, how do you make a long-running, long-form campaign of this? So it's been a wonderful challenge, but I think what we've come up with has really, really worked. Gareth's done some incredible work where there's lots of really fun moments, such as time doesn't flow super linearly down there, so you start to encounter echoes of potential futures where you get to see the after effects of what could have happened. So aforementioned, oh hey, it looks like a train came through here and murdered everything. Oh, there's your corpse. That's weird, etc. So it's been a great challenge. We've got some really exciting villains, 3 big villains that you can face off against in their organizations. So it's all. I genuinely can't wait for folk to get their hands on it.
And that's currently gone through its Kickstarter campaign, has it?
It's still up for late pledges just now, and will be for the next wee while, so depending on when this goes out, you might still be able to hop on the Backer Kit campaign and get that. The pre-order, I'm pretty sure even when the Backer Kit pre-order shut down, we'll have pre-orders on our website.
Okay, and that is Rowan Rook and Decard.com or rrdgames.com, which is easier to remember.
One of those.
Give it a Google. There's only one Rowan Rook and Decard, although Dagger and Heart may not be the most search engine optimized at the minute.
We did have one of those. There was a moment of, oh, that happened, but Dagger had been working for so long, we've been working on it, so that's what it is.
But there may be some overlap between your fans, but I would suspect they're after different vibes.
Yes.
And then the new thing that is coming along for Rowan Rook and Decard is Hollows. Now, obviously, that's not your specialty, but can you tell me something or everything about Hollows so far?
Oh, absolutely. So Hollows is on Backer Kit just now.
Yep.
It's an interesting one. Normally with Rowan Rook and Decard, we like to focus on rules light, narrative heavy.
Yep.
Hollows is like the first time we're really flipping the script. It is very, very rules, very crunchy. It's all about having epic boss fights that don't drag for forever.
Sure.
And like trying to replicate a lot of the Souls-like vibe. If you look at any of the promotional material, you'll see we've got the this circular grid that puts the monster at the center and these zones around, so that the way it plays for players, it feels like that sort of Souls-esque target lock on. You're strafing the monster, and where you are in relation to the monster is what matters, and what weapons you're using based on ranges and the various different interactions with the abilities you're getting from your weapons. It's so tactical, so crunchy. It reminds me a lot of that like 4th edition D&D stuff, but more streamlined, modern design. I get to play a tank in it and feel like a tank, and it's so fun.
So that will be going through its Backer Kit now, did you say?
It's in its first week just now at UK Games Expo, so we've got another 3 weeks left on the campaign, I believe. So probably maybe still up.
More likely to be late pledges by the time you're listening to this, listener, but who knows?
Excellent.
Maybe I'll have been efficient, you never know.
Well, we'll tend to leave our late pledges open for a hot second after anyway.
Yep.
So hop on. By then, we've already started to unlock a bunch of stretch goals anyway. By then, I'm sure we'll have even more. The value is yours to go, dear listener. Go grab it.
There you go. If hunting giant monsters with tactical but slick gameplay floats your boat, then do go and check out Hollows as well. Thank you so much for your time, Elaine.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you everyone for listening.
Have a lovely rest of your con.
I shall. Bye for now.
It's still Sunday, it's still the UK Games Expo 2024, and I'm here at the Free League stand with
Dave Seamark from Free League.
Hi Dave, and how is the con going?
It's been a blast. It's been
Fantastic.
Really busy. We've had loads of people. Saturday, yesterday was just manic. The stock was flying off the tables. We've sold out of loads of things yesterday.
Brilliant.
So for us, it's been brilliant. It's been a really good convention.
Fantastic. And what is the big seller, or what have been the big sellers here?
A number of things. I mean, first and foremost, we brought a number of copies of the new Alien supplement, Building Better Worlds, which we're delighted to say won the Judges Award for Best Expansion.
Congratulations.
This year. Thank you very much. It's still up for the People's Award, so fingers crossed.
Vote now, vote often.
We sold out of that very quickly by lunchtime yesterday. Versen is another great seller for us. It always has been. We brought like a wall of books.
Sure.
And we sold out on all of those yesterday as well. It's been brilliant. Dragonbane also has been great for us. It's a really big seller. We had a fabulous tournament yesterday, which was run by Matthew Tyler-Jones, one of the other guys who runs the stand here with us. It was a tournament with the scenario called the Sinking Tower.
Okay.
And it was a points-based tournament, so you had I think 12 tables of players, and there were by doing the right thing in this scenario, you would gain points. And we had winners, and we had second place and not so winners, but everyone had an absolute blast. It was a really good time. That got the word out a bit about Dragonbane, so people came out and were buying the game straight after the tournament, which is superb. Great for us.
So Dragonbane is the kind of the closest to a sort of straight up traditional fantasy RPG that the Free League do.
So yeah, Dragonbane is the Free League's version of an old game that they always used to play in the 80s called Draka Octomorna, which in English is Dragons and Demons, which was the D&D version in Sweden back in the 80s that the Free League guys grew up playing.
Sure.
And they always wanted to create Draka Octomorna for the modern audience, and they did that, and Dragonbane is the English language version of that game. So it's a D20 roll under game.
Okay.
Similar kind of vibe to D&D-ish, a little bit more dangerous perhaps.
Okay.
But it's what the guys at Free League had wanted to do for years, and they've done it now, and it's doing really well. Being really popular.
And what's kind of next for Free League?
Well, the other big thing for us is a skirmish game called Zone Wars.
Okay.
And we've been running demos of that all weekend.
Yep.
And it's been going down brilliantly. People have been absolutely loving it. It's on sale now. We've got the basic pack, which gives you 2 factions, and then there's an expansion pack which gives you 2 more. But you only need the basic pack to be able to play the game.
Sure.
And it's based in the universe of Mutant Year Zero, our role-playing game. And so you're playing animals, or you might be mutants, or you might be robots, and you're in the zone, which is an irradiated post-apocalyptic landscape.
Yep.
And you are in the skirmish game. You're not just necessarily just trying to kill the other people. You're trying to find artifacts. You're trying to achieve outcomes and objectives. And sometimes that might involve a fight. I guess quite often it might involve a fight.
Yep.
But you can win some of these games by avoiding the fight. So that's been really popular. We brought loads of stock for that, and we've sold at least 2/3 of it already. It's going really well. We're really excited about that game.
Brilliant. Okay, and then there was something else that you wanted to talk about, not necessarily Free League-y.
Yes, so not Free League. So me and Matthew, who obviously have worked for Free League for a number of years, we also run our podcast, the Effekt Podcast, which we've been running since 2017. Over that time, together we've wanted to create a Wild West game, and we've created between us a company called Effekt Publishing.
Yep.
And we are kickstarting our own game. This is not to do with Free League. Yeah, they've given us some advice and support, but this is not a Free League product. Yeah, a Year Zero engine Wild West game called Tales of the Old West.
Okay.
And we're going to kickstart that later this summer, hopefully in August.
Okay.
And that game is a pretty authentic recreation of the Wild West in the 1870s. There's no zombies, there are no magic, there are no tentacles, there are no aliens.
Setting it apart from almost every other Wild West game now.
Exactly,
yes.
Yeah. The evil that you come across is the evil that you find in the hearts of other people. And the game is set a few years after the Civil War, a few years after the emancipation of so many enslaved people.
Yep.
So it's a melting pot of different cultures, different religions, different people, and they're all trying to make their way in the West. Our key inspirations for this was Deadwood, which we absolutely love. Other things as well, like Lonesome Dove, 310 to Yuma. There's so many to mention. But for the campaign game, the town is a central part of your story.
Right.
And your players can support the town. They can make sacrifices for the town. They can defend the town. And if they do that, the town will grow more quickly, and it will prosper, and it will thrive, and that will be good for you if you live in the town. If you want to exploit the town, then it won't grow so quickly. It'll be a more dangerous place. And when you need the town to support you and help you, it won't be there for you. So the players have got a lot of choices around how they want to develop their town, if they want to develop their town, whether they're good guys or bad guys, whether they are European or Americans, or whether they're Native Americans or Chinese, or wherever you are.
Sure.
We're trying to recreate a balanced recreation of the setting. We're being respectful of the history without wanting to encourage people to revel in it, because some of the history is quite grim.
Yes, yep.
But we don't want to whitewash that.
Sure.
So this game is intended to be as authentic as we can make it. So hopefully it'll come out to Kickstarter later in the year. There is a quick start rules up on Drive-Thru at the moment called the Quick Draw. Okay. So that's for free. You get that on the PDF and have a look. And if people like it, then that would be great. And hopefully back us in the future.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, Dave.
Absolutely my pleasure.
Enjoy the rest of your con.
We will, and you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to Will from Chronicle, GM Dave, Steph from Fistful of Crits, Russ and Jess from EN World, and also sorry to Russ for suggesting that I would in fact have this episode out quickly. You were right. I did not. Thanks to Kirsty and Amy, the Women Who D&D. Thanks to Panny from Leyline Press, Lenny from 1985 Games, Steve from Syrenscape, Steph from Cobblepath Games, George from the 3 Sail Studios, Elaine from Rowan Rook and Decard, and finally Dave from Free League and Effekt Publishing. Do get in touch to enter the competition at d20futureshow@gmail.com, and catch us next time as we return to the Carrington disappearance.
Something about the shop and drop. You can't leave stuff overnight.
Okay.